Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Marlou and this is Mainly Books. Today I'm going to talk about the 7 books I read in the month of April. 7 is not a high number for me and I know what happened this month. I started off with 2 books at the same time that I didn't enjoy all that much. I was listening to the first book, No Hard Feelings, by Genevieve Nova. Novak, I'm sorry. I cannot read my own handwriting. This is kind of like advertised as a book for Fleabag lovers and like, you know, that kind of genre that I read a lot of, like women who are just like messing up their life, don't know what they're doing, they're unhappy, stuff like that. Books I read all the time, basically. But this book, I gave it 2.5 stars. I cannot even tell you what it was about anymore, but it just felt very much like, ooh, look at me, I'm being one of those books. But I'm not of the same writing quality level, right? I want to talk about the books I read, but I don't know what it was about. I think it was this girl and she was like dating a guy, but he was like, that was it. Dating a guy, but he was like a loser. He was like not like calling her when she wanted to, stuff like that. And then she had a roommate and that roommate was the perfect guy. You know what I mean? I think that was what the book was about. So there were a lot of like references to like modern things. Like there also was literally, they were watching Fleabag. And that roommate wanted to watch Fleabag because the Hot Priest. You know, I don't like stuff like that. Like, I love Fleabag and the Hot Priest, but I don't love, you know what I mean? For me, it just feels like you are trying to convince me to like your writing because you write about something you know I'll like. Does that make sense? We're not going to talk longer about this book. I just saw it and I thought it'd be a good book, but it wasn't. At the same time, I was reading a physical book called Sleep No More by Jane Ann Krantz, and funny enough, I fell asleep multiple times while reading this book. So I picked it up because I was actually having pretty like annoying sleeping problems. I woke up so happy this morning, so I think I made it through. But at the point I was reading this book, I had like sleep issues and stuff, and I was like, wow. Let's read a book with a title like that. But yeah, it was very long. It is the first book in a trilogy. It's about this woman who has like paranormal powers because of something that happened in the past, and the whole book is kind of about that, but we don't get any flashbacks from that time. So that's one problem I have with it. Then you have these 2 other girls that are her friends that also went to that same experience that they don't have any memories of, and they have a podcast together. Those women barely show up in the book at all. So it's like targeted like it's about 3 friends. No, you just wanted to write 3 books and hope everyone reads all 3 of them. Like, these women, I have no idea how they are. Like, I don't know who they are. Why would I want to read their books? Anyways, there's this guy and he needs her help because he needs to prove something happened because he only knows what happened because he was asleep, and that's not reliable. So they're working together to find out the things. And I enjoyed their thingy going on. I enjoyed that. I just don't like how this book went on and on and on. And it was just really trying to set up a trilogy, but it already felt like you're reading like the 5th book in a series. Like, it was constantly talking about things like I already read things about them and I didn't. And it just annoyed me. If they would have just focused on their story, and it could have been enjoyable because I enjoyed the 2 of them. That was fine. I gave it 2.75 stars. So yeah, that was just like, I will not pick up the other books, definitely not. But I did kind of enjoy like the connection between 2 people. I like that. I like when that happens in thrillers. And then I wanted to escape this like hellhole of bad books, and I started to read a book that I thought was going to be good. The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. I also wanted to read it because it was like brand new. I never like read new books right away because I am like, you know, mostly they're very expensive and I'm like waiting until they get cheaper. Yeah. That's like, I would love to be a booktuber that gets like paid, so I have like money to buy the new book, you know? So I read it, new release stuff, exciting. This book already like tells you this lady is gonna reappear. So the first 100 pages, I don't know if it's 100 pages. So for a very long time in this book, you know, this woman is coming back, and she just doesn't come back. And they like do these like little things that you're like, oh, she's back. Oh no, she's in. And it's like, I think this book maybe could have been like more like shocking. They're in my street. Oh my god, it was a fire truck, and I was looking at the window. The moment I saw the fire truck, they stopped the alarm. Like, the fire is here. They're literally parked in front of like my little. They just put the fire truck there. What? Anyways, the book. So yeah, maybe it could have been like more fun if we didn't know she was coming back. But yeah, eventually I was like kind of enjoying it because it has like this interesting effect that you don't know why she went missing, and that's interesting. But the first part was so cringy. You have like on the start, it's about this girl and her mom is missing, so you have the rest of the family doing like a documentary about it, and they're doing this like interview where they're like looking at old videos sitting together, and they're saying these things to each other, and it's meant as like, ooh, cute family, haha, funny. That whole interaction, I have never cringed that hard in a book. I was like, oh my god, kill me. Who writes something like that and thinks, yes, this is good, yes, these are real people? Like, girl, that is so bad, so bad. So at this point, I'm thinking, Holly Jackson, is she just overrated? Because she does not write realistically. She does not write like, it's YA, I get it, but doesn't have to be so cringy though. Anyways, I see I didn't give it a rating. I think we have to go with 3 stars because I did enjoy it at the end, and the ending was like, whoa, what was going on? But just so much of it was like, it was too long. It was not interesting enough at the beginning, and then the cringy writing. No. Next time she releases a book, I might read it, but I'm not gonna order right away because there's no need for that type of hype. Then I listened to another audiobook, Vladimir by Julia May Jonas. I don't know, this book is kind of like described to me as it's about a woman with an older man, and then she kind of like, the main character narrates it like that, like an older man, but she's older than him or like the same age, so I'm like confused. It's about an older lady, and the man is also old, so it's like, I thought it was gonna be like an age gap thing. I don't know where I heard that, but yeah, this book is about a woman who is is she a professor? I'm so bad at remembering things, but yeah, and her husband is also a professor, but her husband had affairs with students, but like in a time where that was allowed, and now that's no longer allowed, so he didn't do it anymore. But then it came out because the students were complaining about him, and now he's like removed from the school sort of, and she's like facing like the other, like the remaining students are like, why did you allow your husband to do that? Why didn't you stick up? Or like, are you a victim? Or, you know, they're like not understanding the situation. But for her it was like, well, it's fine with me, I knew of it. But then people don't like that she knew of it because they think it's wrong, and she's like, is it wrong? So it's kind of like, it's an interesting narrative if you want to read about things like that. And then also there's this guy who's also a professor, I think, and she's into him. I don't know, it didn't really take off for me. I was like, this is gonna be a book about a woman who's gonna be totally captivated by an older guy, and she's gonna be like, it was not so, it was like, I don't remember a lot. Something happens towards the end that got me kind of like thinking, is this book really about this? And yeah, so it was like fine. I think I'll give it 3.25. I like the thing that happened because it made me think about it. I would have rated it lower, but because of that thing that happened, it got me thinking about some things about life and the meaning and stuff. And I don't want to spoil it if you want to read it. But yeah, so it was not a bad experience. It was just, beside that part, the rest was not memorable to me, and I thought the book was going to be about something else, and I wanted to read about that. So if you have a recommendation for a book like that, I described it really fake what I'm looking for. Yeah, never mind. I'll find it. Or not. I thought maybe it was gonna be like a student in love with their professor, but like in a legal way. I mean, it's not legal, but like in a, like, not a child, basically. Yeah. The disappointment continues. I picked up Powerless by Elsie Silver. This is the third book in the Chestnut Springs series. I was like 300 pages in and I wanted to DNF. But I'm not gonna DNF at that point. So I skimmed through some of the pages and read like the last few chapters. Because this book is like more than 400 pages long. And the thing, these are romance books. They're smart. They're romance. But the romance was just not good. I did not feel these characters. They didn't feel real to me. They didn't feel attractive to me. They didn't feel interesting. They didn't feel like they loved each other. There was nothing in it that, I don't know, I just didn't feel it at all. I didn't feel no connection. I was so cringy. I think my favorite out of the three so far was, is it called Reckless, the second one? With Willa. But Willa in this book, she is so cringy. Like, you don't text your friends, especially if you're not even close friends, shit like that. The thing she's saying is like she is a teenager that is unhinged, needs therapy. She says things that's like so cringy, and I could not with this book. It was, so you're waiting this whole book for this romance to start off being smut, and then the smut comes, and I'm just like recoiling from it. I'm like not into it, and I'm like, why am I reading this? Why do I buy this? Why do I need to pick this up? It's so not my thing. But now I've realized that. Like, the other books I gave like 3.5 stars because I was like, well, it's ridiculous, it's cringy, but at least I'm kind of like flying through it. This book took me so long to finish. It was so hard to get through. Awful. I didn't give it a rating. 2 stars? Is that too high? I don't want to read from her ever again. Because I just... Don't come at me because I know she's loved, but like, no. No thank you. Then I read How to Kill Men and Get Away with It. I don't have any books to show you right now. I could just pick it up. I could just get it. The book is downstairs, so I cannot show you. But yeah. This book was very fun. It was very nice to finally read a book that I read within 3 days, like a lot of pages in a row. I was reading it in the yard. It was nice. This is about a woman, and she gets like harassed after a night out, and she decides to kill that man. And then she's like, oh my god, I love killing men. And then she goes off killing men. And it's kind of like in a Dexter way. It's like acknowledged that it's in a Dexter way. So it's like, the men kind of deserve it. Depends on how you see things. But yeah, it was really enjoyable. And at the same time, she's also just doing other things. It's also about like, she's an influencer and her friends are like rich. And she also starts to date someone. And yeah, it was really enjoyable. I don't know what to rate it though, because it was not life altering to me, but it was very enjoyable. So maybe 3.75. Maybe it will get higher in a few months or not, because again, depends on what it did to me. But it was definitely entertainment, and that is good. I love to be entertained. And then the last book I finished was The Rachel Incident. I listened to this as an audiobook. This is about a girl, and she gets a best friend who is gay, and they're living together. I don't know what I can say, because I cannot read the blurb if I'm listening to an audiobook. But yeah, it's kind of really about that friendship and what you do for friends when you love them so much. It was enjoyable. I would have liked it to go like a tad bit further into like that, like I have like this rating of like books that are good but they don't change anything in my life, and books that change my life a little bit, and I don't think it reached that. But it was definitely enjoyable, and yeah, it was nice to read about some real friendship, because I don't read about that a lot, but it's very interesting to me. And yeah, those are the 7 books I read this month. It was not a great reading month. After this, I just finished a really good book, so you'll see that in next month's wrap up. But yeah, I have a good feeling for May because it's already going better. But yeah, there's hit and miss with books, and there were a lot of missers this month, and that's okay. Finally got motivation to film this wrap up, so leave a like for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I would love to see you next time. Bye!